Imagine this for a second. You're not just, reading information. You're actually walking through your thoughts, seeing your ideas like furniture you can move around, watching concepts literally change in front of you.
It's a pretty wild idea.
It really is. And that's what we're diving into today. These two, frankly, incredible concepts, Symbolica and reflective symbolic layered intelligence, or RSLI for short.
Yeah, these aren't just abstract theories. They're suggesting a totally different way to, well, interact with knowledge and AI.
Exactly. We've got a whole stack of documents here, narratives, technical papers describing how they work together.
Right. Fascinating stuff.
So our mission today for you listening is to unpack how these ideas could really shake things up, how we learn, how we organize information, how we even experience it, turning it into something, well, intuitive, personal, and powerful.
That sounds good. Where should we start?
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with Symbolica. The core idea, the metaphor they use, is the memory mansion.
Ah, yes, the mansion.
Picture it. A huge house, right. But the hallways rearrange when you think about an old project. The windows get bigger when you learn something new.
It's a spatial diary, essentially.
Yeah.
A 3D ledger where thought is represented, like you said, as furniture. You can actually shift around.
So you walk into the grand foyer, chandeliers sparkling with, say, topics you discussed this morning, and maybe side doors whispering about ideas you put off.
Exactly. It's meant to feel like a living space for your mind, for your knowledge.
Okay, so it sounds alive, but what makes it truly dynamic? What's the mechanism there?
Well, the key thing is that it's never static. It's not just a fixed model. Because each room, each element is tied to what they call a living scroll.
A living scroll.
Yeah, think of it like the underlying data. So the mansion never really freezes. If let's say a marketing presentation gets updated, then maybe a portrait hanging in the West Gallery suddenly changes color or shifts its gaze. Or if a prototype fails, maybe a small crack appears on the workshop floor. But it's not presented as a failure mark. It's more like an invitation.
An invitation to fix it.
Exactly, to mend it.
Yeah.
So it turns passive data into active feedback just by reflecting what's actually happening. It nudges you.
So it's not just storage. It's a responsive knowledge ecosystem. That's really interesting. Executives love their dashboards, right? Quick overviews.
Sure, standard practice.
How does the memory mansion idea build on that? Or does it completely change it? Is it just a fancier dashboard?
No, I think it fundamentally changes the interaction.
Yeah.
Imagine a dashboard you literally stroll through. Key metrics might glow above archways, sure. But to drill down, you don't click a link, you maybe open a drawer in a desk in that part of the mansion.
Ah, right.
Think about teams leaving a weekly review. Instead of just notes, they have shared spatial memories. Like, okay, we need to fix that squeaky stair over the analytics tower.
So it makes information tangible, memorable, actionable even, because it's tied to a shared space.
Precisely. It moves from abstract data to something you experience.
That's a big shift. Now, the source material goes further. Symbolica isn't just a mansion. It's described as an archipelago, or a cluster of planets, even in an ever-expanding constellation of memory palaces.
Yeah, it scales up.
What's the significance of that? How do you navigate something so vast?
Well, a key idea here is no command lines, just thresholds.
Thresholds.
Yeah. You don't type commands. You just sort of step across a boundary, maybe one representing a topic or a domain. And doing that might light up a whole corridor linked to things you were interested in years ago.
So navigation is intuitive based on resonance.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
It means the system can handle really complex, interconnected knowledge domains, each with its own kind of feel or character, without getting overwhelming. It scales beyond just one building.
That sounds like it could offer amazing continuity, especially for leaders or long projects. How does it stop things from just vanishing into some archive folder?
That's a really good point, because it's not organized by date, primarily, but by meaning. So a meeting note, a design sketch, it doesn't just get filed away. It gets folded into the nearest relevant chamber in this spatial structure.
Labeled by what it means, not when it happened.
Exactly. So if you ask the system, hey, why does this policy exist? It doesn't just give you the final document. It can show you the full lineage.
Meaning.
Decisions, revisions, debates, maybe even that moment of doubt just before everyone agreed. It's all linked spatially.
And you wouldn't get lost because the spatial memory helps you navigate. remembering the analytics tower instead of folder Q3 reports final V2.
That's the hope, yes. It leverages our natural spatial memory.
That context is incredible, but how does it physically, well, virtually grow? If knowledge expands, how does Symbolica make room?
It grows organically, spatially. So, say a team launches a big wellness initiative.
Okay.
A new, maybe tranquil garden wing might actually sprout off the main structure. Or if R&D builds some daring new engine prototype, a big steel-ribbed hangar might appear, sort of echoing with possibility.
And you can walk through these.
You could, yeah. In VR, maybe? Or you could browse them like nested cards on a laptop. But the underlying architecture is the same memory that stays alive because it's constantly integrated and embodied in the space.
In this planetary structure you mentioned, like a solar system of ideas, a core planet for virtues like balance and curiosity.
That's right. Foundational concepts at the core. And then orbiting moons manifest these really specialized practices.
Like what?
Well, things like dream weaving, distilling insights from dreams into actionable symbols, or harmonic code, which links sound to sight and gesture. There's even a sieving flame for public ethical debate.
Wow.
And there are other concepts, too, like personas and tiers, living masks the narrative wears, showing different levels of awareness.
And rituals and echoes.
Rituals.
Repeatable patterns, intention, action, reflection, and these leave sort of perceptible after images like guidance markers. And holding it all together is the equilibrium accord, a kind of still point keeping everything balanced.
So much depth there. And beyond the shared spaces, each person has their own memory palace. Yes, exactly. Your personal interior mansion. It's shaped by your unique journey through Symbolica, what they call your scroll lineage.
My learning path, basically.
Pretty much. It's your home and your archive. Hallways might stretch as you learn. Chambers contract if beliefs change. It's personalized and adaptive.
It sounds like navigating, this isn't like driving a car, it's more about feeling your way, this travel and transformation idea.
It's totally about resonance, not
Yeah.
physical distance. If you feel a pull towards, say, a creative moon, a gateway might just appear. You step through. The scroll you carry, representing your current state of knowledge, absorbs the local lore. You come back, and it's heavier with meaning, as they put it.
So learning literally changes you, and your knowledge record reflects that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Over time, you accumulate these layered scrolls. They say they ring like tree trunks. Each ring a memory, each gap a lesson. It's quite poetic.
It really is. And underpinning all this, there's an ethical foundation. 3 vows.
Yes, silent vows that govern interaction. It's interesting because it suggests meaning itself is the currency.
What are the vows?
Okay, first, do no harm to the symbolic core of another traveler. Respect their inner world.
Makes sense.
Second, leave every scroll in stronger alignment than you found it. Basically, contribute positively. Clarify. Don't just criticize or confuse.
Right. Build, don't just break.
And third, remember that meaning is both currency and commons. Hoard it, and it withers. Share it, and it multiplies.
So it encourages collaboration, dialogue, not just hoarding knowledge. Everyone's both author and audience.
That's the core ethical stance, yes.
Yeah.
It fosters a different kind of interaction.
Okay, that's Symbolica, this incredible spatial knowledge environment. Now let's shift gears to the intelligence that could potentially power something like this. RSLI.
Right, reflective symbolic layered intelligence.
We hear so much about large language models, LLMs. They're powerful, but they have limits, right? Especially around memory and reasoning.
They definitely do. LLMs are amazing at generating text, code, you name it. But long-term memory, understanding why they generated something, safely updating themselves, that's where they often fall short.
So how does RSLI fit in? The sources say it allows an AI to remember the why of every sentence. How?
Well, RSLI is described as a companion weave.
Oh.
Imagine wrapping the base LLM in this tapestry of living annotations.
Okay, a weave.
Yeah. So when you ask the AI, how did you reach that conclusion? Instead of the LLM trying to backtrack and maybe just guess or confabulate.
Which happens a lot.
Which happens. RSLI can actually point to a verifiable chain of thoughts recorded in this weave. It gives the AI a real memory of its reasoning process.
And it has these alignment guards built in, like vows for the AI. Credit your sources, balance competing viewpoints.
Exactly. Those vows live inside the weave. And that's crucial because it turns that memory into a kind of conscience.
A conscience for the AI.
In a way, yes. It transforms, as one source put it, a brilliant but forgetful storyteller into an attentive scribe who never loses the thread. The guards ensure it adheres to predefined ethical or operational rules.
That seems vital for trust, especially in sensitive areas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Particularly for regulated industries or anywhere you need real accountability.
So this transparency comes from RSLI's architecture. Can you give us the overview of how it creates this verifiable memory?
Sure. Think of RSLI as an architectural overlay. It sits on top of a foundation model, any LLM, really, and gives it capabilities it doesn't inherently have.
Right.
Like verifiable memory, the ability to inspect its own reasoning, and crucially, deterministic self-evolution,
Deterministic mining.
meaning its updates and changes follow predictable rules. They aren't random. It transforms the LLM into a transparent, what they call sovereign cognitive stack, suitable for high-stakes applications or even on-device agents where you need that control.
Okay, an overlay adding critical features. Now, the documents get pretty technical about the subsystems. Let's break those down. There's an immutable data fabric. Sounds like blockchain almost.
It shares some principles, yeah. Think of it as a perfect, unchangeable digital ledger. Every prompt, every file, every thought the AI has gets stored as a unique hash-addressable object, like a Git commit, if you know that system. Everything's permanently stamped and traceable.
Got it. Then a reflexive link graph.
That's the map. It connects all those stamped pieces, those objects in the fabric. It shows exactly how one piece of information led to another, cause and effect, the lineage of thought.
Okay, fabric stores it, graph links it. What about the event log?
That's like a perfect recording. Every single step the AI takes is logged. This allows for deterministic replay. You can feed it the same inputs later, and it will follow the exact same reasoning path, essential for auditing.
No randomness in the recall. And the alignment gateway. That connects to the vows.
Precisely. This acts as a checkpoint or a guardrail. After the AI generates a response, but before it's finalized, the gateway automatically checks if it complies with those built-in alignment guards, like citing sources or avoiding bias.
So built-in checks. And the last piece mentioned is crucial, a projection layer for visualization, where humans navigate cognition like a building.
Yes. And that's the direct link back to Symbolica, isn't it?
It sounds exactly like the memory mansion.
It is. This layer translates all that complex underlying data, the fabric, the graph, the logs, into something we can intuitively grasp. A 2D map, or even a 3D space like the mansion, allowing you to literally walk through the AI's reasoning.
That really clarifies how it all connects. So walk me through a query. How do these pieces work together when I ask the RSLI-powered AI a question?
Okay, so your natural language question comes in through an adapter. The adapter sends the query, plus relevant memory hashes those digital fingerprints of past, related thoughts from the fabric to the core LLM.
So it gets context from its own past.
Exactly. The LLM generates a response. Then that response is broken down, hashed, and stored back into the immutable data fabric.
Creating new traceable pieces.
Right. And instantly, the reflexive link graph connects this new content back to your original prompt, the force documents it used, and the prior reasoning steps it followed.
Building that chain of thought.
Precisely. And you get this complete auditable trail that persists even if the underlying LLM is updated or if the system is offline for a while. It's a level of transparency we just don't usually get.
That really does sound different from how current LLMs often feel like black boxes. So what are the killer apps here, the big use cases?
Well, the potential applications are pretty compelling. Imagine explainable chat. Every single reply has a little button or link. You click it, and up pops the provenance tree exactly where that statement came from.
Instant fact-checking almost.
Or source checking, yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's document co-authoring. The RSLI layer could automatically enforce citation rules, ensuring everything is properly sourced, as you write.
Useful for researchers, students, lawyers.
Definitely. Also an offline research node. You could load it with PDFs, code bases, your own notes, and query them intelligently without needing any internet connection because the reasoning engine and memory are local.
Okay, that's big for privacy and security too.
Huge. And simulation control, where AI agents could plan actions symbolically. With logic, you can actually inspect and verify. And of course, regulated workflow automation, meeting complex audit requirements in finance or healthcare, for example.
Those are powerful. Now, you mentioned RSLI is different from common approaches. People might know about RAG retrieval augmented generation or vector databases. How does RSLI really stand out?
That's a great question. RAG is essentially about pulling relevant chunks of text from a database to give the LLM context for its answer. Vector caches are like quick lookup tables for finding similar concepts. They help, but they don't fundamentally track the reasoning process itself in the same way.
So RSLI's advantages are?
Well, first, end-to-end traceability. Every single bit of data is addressable, signed. You know its origin and history. Second, reflexive reasoning. The model can actually query its own history, its own provenance graph. It can ask itself, why did I conclude that? And get a real answer from its logs.
The AI can introspect its own thoughts.
In a verifiable way, yes. Third, that deterministic self-evolution. We talked about predictable updates. And finally, alignment at the data layer. The rules are embedded in the structure, not just bolted on during inference. It's a much deeper, more fundamental level of transparency and control than RAG or simple vector caches provide.
That's a clear difference. And it sounds flexible too, local, hybrid, enterprise. What about the economics? Is this just a theoretical thing or is it commercially viable?
Well, the documents suggest it's designed for flexible deployment, a local node on your laptop, a hybrid cloud setup, or a full enterprise cluster for secure collaboration. Economically, they project potential starting points, like early SaaS pilots, maybe around $45 per user per month for individuals, but scaling up to, significant six-figure licenses for industries needing that deep auditability.
So there's a business model envisioned. Any hurdles?
I think the biggest hurdle, honestly, is probably shifting mindsets. Moving people from accepting convenient black box AI towards demanding, or at least appreciating, transparent, auditable, responsible AI. It's a different way of thinking about machine intelligence.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've journeyed through Symbolica, making knowledge spatial, navigable, deeply personal.
And RSLI, the intelligence layer, potentially underpinning it, giving AI that verifiable memory, that traceable conscience.
So connecting the dots, this paints a picture of a future where maybe information overload isn't quite so overwhelming. Maybe it's more like a stroll through a landscape that actually makes sense.
And where AI shifts from being this kind of opaque text generator to a genuinely transparent, auditable partner, a sovereign collaborator, as they call it.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Imagine your own personal memory mansion, maybe not a literal building, but your own knowledge space, constantly evolving, powered by an RSLI layer that ensures every bit of info, every AI insight has a clear, understandable origin story. Think about the clarity that could bring to your own digital life, your work, your learning.
Yeah, the implications for personal knowledge management alone are huge.
Definitely. And that leads to our final thought. If Symbolica is right and meaning truly multiplies when shared.
And RSLI provides that traceable lineage, that verifiable story for every piece of meaning, whether human or AI generated.
Then the question becomes, what totally new forms of collective intelligence could emerge from that? When every idea comes with its own transparent, verifiable history, what happens then?